everybody. Welcome to the Thrive coaching call for today. It is Saturday, the 8th of November. Yes, here in Australia. So welcome, welcome. Welcome to people who have come in live. It is lovely to see your beautiful smiling faces. So the reason I am doing these calls is because I am on a mission to make wealth consciousness go viral. So I decided to put on some free coaching calls to help as many people as possible. So out of all the people on my list, it's interesting to see the ones who show up when I do these calls. And I am always excited to work with the people who are here to really help you to shift any blocks that you have and to be able to step into and create a wealth consciousness that supports you in creating your wealth, your freedom, and your sovereignty moving forward. So, what we're going to do is start by just start by actually setting your intention for today, because your intention is the most powerful part of the shift that you need. And without intention, nothing really works. It's like creating your life by default or creating it by design. Your intention shifts everything. And then the work that we do beyond that intention is it's like the catalyst that actually just tips it over the edge. But your intention is the foundational part of the work that needs to be done. So I want you to just take a moment, whether you're here live or watching the replay, take a moment to think about what is your intention. What would you like to receive from this call today? What do you feel you need to shift moving forward to get out of your own way? Because remembering that you are an infinitely powerful being, you have the ability to create any future, and you are the creative force in your life. So basically, it is up to you. You get the reality that you choose. So if you don't like what you've chosen to this point, what are you going to choose moving forward? And just watching some of the things that are going on in the world, sometimes I just get these questions in my head. And I had this question from some stuff that I've been observing, is that why do bad things happen to good people? And we can get stuck in these quite dark and depressing questions sometimes because we live in a world where bad shit happens to good people. And when we come from a place of, well, we're creating our life moment by moment, true story, the law of attraction, and all this other stuff, then we can start to lay blame on ourselves, because if we're not creating the life that we want, if shit shows up in our life that is traumatic or sort of knocks us for a six, and it's not what we want, we can start to think that there's something really wrong with us, that there's something wrong with what we're doing and the way that we're doing it. When in actual fact, I think sometimes we need to come to terms with the fact that we live in a world where bad shit happens to good people. It just does. Now, does that mean that we are at the mercy of the forces of life? I don't believe that either. I believe that we are creating our life moment by moment by moment by moment. But God, the universe, source, the divine, the creator, whatever your word is for it, spirit, doesn't give us what we want. It gives us what we need. It gives us what is necessary for our evolution, both personally and collectively. So some of the bad shit that we see going down is a part of our personal evolution, and it's a part of our collective evolution. So instead of getting caught up in that kind of a dark question, which sort of hit me just in the last couple of days, watching something unfold in Canada, which was just horrific. Um, Instead of getting stuck in that question, why does bad shit happen to good people? We never ask why does good shit happen to bad people. We never ask that question. It just is. That is our world. Both happen. And good shit also happens to good people. And bad shit also happens to bad people. It is a melting pot. And we decided to manifest in this melting pot. So we do our very best to focus on what we want, to create our life by design. Apathy and complacency has no place if we want to create a new future for ourselves. We have to eliminate those two cancers, apathy and complacency, and our addiction to comfort. Because, and I've probably done a large part of my audience a disservice, and I'm really just starting to realize that now because I have this thing that I just want to make it easy for everybody. And I've kind of been on this quest of how do I make it as easy as possible for everybody. But the brutal truth is, it ain't easy. This shit ain't easy. Life ain't easy. Sometimes it sucks balls, man. And what I should have been doing all this time is helping you to trust in your power, believe in yourself, know that you have the capacity to overcome any problem, challenge, no matter how big, no matter how hard it may seem. You're bigger than that. You're better than that. You're stronger than that. You're more powerful than that. And I think that's where I went wrong with a lot of my audience. It is instead of trying to make it easy, is helping you to believe the power that you have within you. Because this shit ain't easy. Success isn't easy. Building wealth isn't easy. None of it's easy. I don't believe it has to be as hard as we make it because we create most of our own hurdles through our lack of self-belief, our lack of self-worth, our lack of self-confidence, our money shit that we have, all of it. But it is that awareness and recognizing that once we shift that, once we do the internal work, and this is where I guess instead of trying to make it easy, is encouraging you to do more of the internal work. And I'm, those people who are here on this call, I'm speaking to the choir because I know that you're doing in the internal work. And sometimes it can feel like, man, I'm doing in this internal work and I feel like I'm going nowhere. But in those times, it's important that you look at how far you've actually come because this is a marathon, not a sprint. And sometimes it can feel like an endless sort of hamster wheel of more work and more work and more work. And I see some people fly and some people it's just doing the work. It's doing the work. It's constantly doing the work. And some of us have more work to do than others. And it's never losing sight of what it is that we are endeavoring to create, on the life that we want ourselves, on the future that we want for humanity. And actually, here's an idea that I'm going to float that just popped into my head. Because I see spiritual people struggle oftentimes a lot more than those who aren't necessarily spiritually grounded, than those who aren't necessarily here to really further the conscious evolution of the planet, to help more people in a way that expands the consciousness of humanity and brings more kindness and compassion to the planet. And maybe that is our cross to bear in a way. And maybe I'm completely off, out of touch here. I don't know. But I'm just floating the idea out there because I don't want you to give up, not give up on yourself. I don't want you to give up on your dreams. I don't want you to give up on your quest for the future and feel like it's hopeless because sometimes it can feel like we're stuck in quicksand. I'm speaking from experience. So, but it's that grit, it's that determination, it's that commitment, it's that resilience, it's that tenacity, it's that determination to go, I will not quit on myself, I will not quit on my dreams. Sometimes it's slow, but I choose to stay in the fight for myself, for my future, for the future that I wish to create for others. And it's being willing to go all in, never say die, and know that whatever you are here to achieve, whatever you feel drawn to create, because we are all creators, whatever you feel drawn to create, don't expect it to be easy. Anticipate the challenges. Anticipate that it's going to be hard. And harden up, swallow some cement, and just decide that you are going to have a can do no matter what, whatever it takes kind of attitude. And then sometimes you're going to need to give yourself grace. Because sometimes you're going to feel overwhelmed. Sometimes it's going to feel all too hard. Sometimes you're going to feel like, I ain't got nothing left, man. I don't know how I get out of bed today. I don't know how I put one foot in front of the other today. We all go through that. That is the human experience. That is the human endeavor. That is the human struggle. There is nothing wrong with you. You're human. And when that feeling of that sort of that hopelessness, that powerlessness, that helplessness starts to creep in, give yourself grace and go, I'm just going to take a breath. I'm going to find my center. I'm going to give to myself at this time because at the moment I ain't got nothing for anybody else. And be kind to yourself. I was with a group of ladies yesterday, and somebody was talking about, oh, when I do stupid shit, I berate myself, blah, 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 blah. And somebody else piped up and said, would you talk to a friend like that? Like if somebody who was a friend of yours did something that was a bit silly or a bit stupid or they didn't think it through, would you berate them the same way that you're berating yourself? Sure, probably not. I might think they're stupid, but I would actually tell them that they're stupid. I wouldn't say it to them. And she said, well, don't say it to yourself. Be kind to yourself. So I hope that gives you a little bit of inspiration. I hope that's been an uplifting message today because it's a double-edged sword. On the one hand, I'm saying, man, this shit's tough. And you got to toughen the fuck up. And on the other hand, I'm saying you are capable of achieving anything. You are so powerful. You are so amazing. You are so brilliant. You are so capable. Never quit on yourself. Go all in your dreams. And commit to doing the work. Commit to the expansion. Commit to the growth. Commit to building your belief. Commit to your dream. So, having given you a little pep talk for the day, let's dive in. Who wants to do some work today? Who wants to start? Where are you at? How can I help you? Come on, don't be shy. I don't bite. Deb, come on in. Beautiful Deb. How is ya?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. Uh, I've decided to do a relaunch because during COVID, I was shut down and locked out of my private group of 30,000 for 9 months for saying something they didn't like.
Oh,
which
wow.
totally crashed my group. Now I just cannot get it going again. I still post in there, but it's just died basically. So I've started up a new group. Um, my biggest problem is I'm not being seen. Facebook are not circulating my stuff. I'm not even seeing my friend's stuff. I don't even see my partner's stuff.
Mm,
And I'm not getting the clients in. And, that group, I used to get clients from it because I put a lot of work and effort into it. And I would read for people until midnight because a lot of them were in the States. And that was all free, every day it was free until somebody, then wanted to work further. So I'm at a place where I've put a shitload of money into training, into creating 3 courses, well, one big program one-on-one, 2 other courses, plus a beginner's astrology course, and I'm getting nothing. And, between VA, because I'm not very good with social media, like working the tech, I spent probably 10 years trying to figure it out myself, and I decided, you know what, I'm not going to get it. I'm not rigged that way. So, paying someone else to do all that for me, getting all the workbooks I created made into beautiful workbooks and put into new platforms. And, it's cost a shit. Like I could have actually put a deposit on a house for what I've spent,
mm,
and I'm getting nothing back. And I'm starting to lose my will to keep going.
mm. I hear you. It's tough. And Facebook is really tough. There are some posts that I put out that get lots of traction, but as soon as I put anything, like even if I put stuff up yesterday about this free call today, no, shadow banned. Very few people saw it, if anybody. So, their algorithms are very against anything that even looks like it might be promoting something. And I gave up on groups a long time ago, unfortunately, because Facebook was heading in that direction and all the momentum was going in that direction, and then groups just died. Most groups that I see on Facebook now are just ghost towns. Very hard to get traction there. So even though you did have a group that was sort of ticking over, all the algorithms have moved away from groups. So regardless of whether or not you lost the group from somebody reporting you, which I had as well a few years ago, all of a sudden my group just disappeared. And I didn't say anything controversial. It was all about wealth consciousness and tapping and money and all that. All of a sudden it just disappeared. No explanation. And then 3 months later it suddenly reappeared. No explanation. So I don't know. Somebody might have complained. Who knows? It's very
I had
arbitrary and
fact checkers all
unpredictable.
over me.
Yes, well, that was actually before 2020. So yes, that was before we started being vocal and speaking out about shit. But regardless, do you feel, have you really identified specifically who your target audience is, what your message is for that audience, and whether or not you're in alignment and whether or not your audience is in alignment with you and who you are? Because a lot of us have evolved a lot in the last 5 years.
Hmm. Target audience is usually empaths.
Mm. Yep.
Um, the alignment part, no idea.
Okay. So empaths is a big group. Can you narrow it down a bit? What type of
Um,
empaths specifically?
I like working with undeveloped psychics, mediums. I've trained quite a few, and I had a lot of them come in and do lives in my group. That's when I had like 6 admins having to take care of the page because it was so big and so full on. Um, so anyone that's just starting to wake up to the fact that they've got some sort of spiritual ability there that they didn't know, or even business women that have been so focused on their male side that they've completely ignored the feminine and the intuitive, and they're just starting, in their midlife transits, anything from 40 to 50. realizing there's more to life than what they're doing. They're starting to feel, see, and pick up on things they couldn't explain. They want to develop and understand energy, vibration, their abilities, the spirit world, anyone like that, or people that the empaths that are still vibrationally matching other people's trauma and falling in the well with them. I'm very good at pulling them out and rewiring them because I was one. Yeah, just that kind of thing. That's what I created my programs for.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Um, and before I go on any further, I should have said right in the beginning that this YouTube recording, this recording will actually be going out to everybody on YouTube. So just be aware that it's actually going to be in the public domain. Um, so okay. So uh do you feel like your message, so it sounds to me as if they're sort of 35 to 55, they're in a transitioning kind of, a lot of them are actually transitioning into more awareness. They're exploring more spirituality. They're starting to awaken to their gifts. They know there's more for them, but they're not sure what that is. So they're in possibly a state of confusion. They feel like they're in no man's land. They don't fit into the world that they used to fit into anymore, but they don't know what's next. Am I over the target at all?
Yeah, that's really, really good. I've also just recently worked with a speech therapist in the States who works with disabled children. And she's actually dedicated a chapter of her bio that she's writing to me and the difference I made in her life. But also with the children, some of them are not able to speak. And she's was kind of wondering how does she understand what's happening with them, especially, like if one needs to go to the bathroom, but they can't tell her and then things happen. And I was able to link in on the child and give her the prompts for that and help her with that. So I also like to work with, business women who have issues like that with their own work, or maybe they want to learn new tools for their own clients if they're in a spiritual setting. Yeah, there's so many different things I can do. Rewiring trauma.
So it's very important that you hone in on a specific group first, because your messaging
Yes,
will be
that's the
different. The
problem.
messaging for the first group of people that we spoke about those who are just awakening to perhaps their own intuition, their own spiritual, they're feeling lost, and like they don't belong anymore. Where they felt like they belonged, now they don't feel like they belong, and they're kind of in no man's land. That's a very different message and a very different program or product or service that you provide to that group of people than you do to the second group of people. So, um, I would recommend that you identify where is the lowest hanging fruit that you can target first. It doesn't mean that you don't target the other audience, but you focus in on one target audience first, and you draw them into your world, and you sort of nurture them, because the more you sort of diversify your message, it it just means that you are distributing too much energy in too many different directions. So the more you're focused on one target audience, which would you say are the ones that you have noticed in the past would be more likely to invest in working with you? Who align with you more quickly, that are willing to say, "Ah, you're my gal. I need to work with you. I need you in my life because I need you to help me to get over this hump that I'm experiencing right now."
But probably the ones with health issues, food allergies, emotional problems, family disharmony that's still going on 40 years later, all that kind of stuff.
Okay, so that's a completely
And
different audience
probably,
again with another completely different message. So, and who do you feel more aligned to work with?
Yeah, that's the one. Um, I probably really enjoy working with empaths and getting them from the place they're in where they're so not in touch with what's going on for them that they don't realize every time they go out, they're absorbing everyone else's stuff. They don't know what's theirs, what isn't. It messes with them, like our soul can only manage our stuff, not everybody else's. So we go into overwhelm and, the ones that fall in the well, I'm very good at getting them out of the well.
Okay.
So they're probably my favorite, and then teaching them the skills because they're usually the ones that go on to become either Reiki healers or crystal something, they're doing that kind of thing anyway.
Okay.
So
And
yeah.
this is the where the dilemma comes in, particularly for somebody who's very, very spiritual, is do you um do you go all in on those who may not be the lowest hanging fruit, who may not be whipping their credit cards out to throw them at you to say, work with me, I can't wait to pay you money. Do you work with those people first, or do you work with the people who you feel that you most enjoy working with? So I think it depends on your priorities. So are your priorities getting clients, or are your priorities working with the people that you most want to work with? For now, just for now, for
Work
the
with
next 6 months.
people. Yeah. I love doing the work with people that really need it. In saying that, I've
Everybody
put
you
so
work with
much
will really need it.
money. Yes. And I also need to start receiving something in return because it's becoming very out of balance with what I'm putting out and what I'm getting back.
Yeah, and that's very common, particularly in the spiritual kind of realm. We invest a lot in ourselves, and then we are not necessarily all that good at receive on the receiving side. So, okay, so let's explore the people who you said the ones that you think are more likely to be drawn to you more quickly to start to pay you money, and that is you said the people who have health issues. Is that correct?
Well, they're usually the ones that have the family issues, relationship problems, the negative paradigms. They're the ones that have the health issues. So it's kind of like the health issue is the end result of what's going on for them emotionally and mentally.
Okay. So my personal recommendation would be that if you just, what would get you to point, what kind of income would get you to the point where you're like, okay, I feel a little bit of security now for the next couple of months. And whilst that kind of part of my business is ticking over, I can now focus on the people that I really want to work with, which is kind of like just think of them as your hobby group. They might
Mm,
become your primary group ultimately, but they're kind of your hobby group. So if you're taking care of yourself first and
yes.
you're building up an income, what kind of income do you feel like you could just take the foot off the gas a little bit and go, now I want to work with my hobby group and build that up?
Yeah. If I could be pulling in 20K a month,
Okay.
that would be really great because I'd be able to start rebuilding the hundreds of thousands I've put into the business. Because during COVID, I also lost my home that I built. Um, and I'd be able to actually gift a lot of my training to people who really need it, who are really stuck and just can barely manage to pay the bills. That's what I would love to be able to do.
Yeah.
But I
Okay.
can't do it with nothing coming in. I just,
Yes. Okay. And that's not fair on you to be doing that. Now, I'm just going to put a little caveat in here. It's very important that you recognize. Sorry, my husband's trying to get a hold of me. Um, it's very important that you recognize that people appreciate free, but they don't value it. I've done a lot of free stuff in the past, and what I've noticed a lot of the time is that um, there's not a lot of shift that happens for people, and they don't take the biggest advantage of it because it's free. I mean, how much free stuff have you downloaded and then never looked at it?
Uh, Not a lot actually. That's where I'm probably different to everyone else. I know what you're saying, and I'm
So you're
seeing
an
it happen out
you're an
there with other
outlier.
people.
You're an outlier. An
What's that?
outlier. You're different to the norm. You're an outlier. You're like the 1%,
Oh,
not the
right.
90,
Yeah.
not the
Yes.
99%.
Yes,
Yeah.
because how I got where I was the free stuff from all my mentors. It was webinars with little cheap things, and I studied for hours every day on this free stuff. And then I would something would happen where I'd bring in a little bit more money and I was able to buy their $60 whatever off the webinar, and I'd do that, and I slowly grew and grew and grew till I was able to pay 5,000 for something, and then 15,000 with my RMT with Tony Robbins, and things like that. So the free stuff was so valuable. I loved it and appreciated it so much, and it made all the difference to me. I would not be where I am without that. But now I'm noticing that most people aren't like that, and I'm like, why?
Because
I
just that,
don't
it
get
is a
it.
psychology. It's free. The psychology for most people around free is it's free. So it's not, if it's free, then it can't be that valuable. That's the
Oh, for me, it's
psychology.
I'm so grateful.
I know. And there's a lot of really valuable free stuff out there. But the vast majority of people are if there's no skin in the game, then so this is even though you want to give stuff to people, I would recommend that you put some sort of value on it, even if it's $25 or $50, just so there is a form of exchange, so there is a value that they have in it.
Mm.
Because the vast majority of people you will find that you give it to for free. And I mean, I heard this from a mentor myself a couple of years ago, he was doing programs for young kids, help in entrepreneurship, and it was an incredible program.
Mm.
And he saw some incredibly talented kids who had so much potential, but their parents couldn't afford the program. So him and his partner started like a what do they call it, where you get into university on a scholarship. So it was like a scholarship. And he gave these kids a break, and their
Yeah.
parents were just overjoyed. They were like so grateful. And he said to me, those kids went nowhere and they did nothing. Even though they were so grateful for this program that was gifted to them, it was thousands of dollars worth. It was $10,000 or $20,000 or something gifted to them for nothing. And their parents saw the value and they appreciated it. The kids went nowhere because the parents didn't really show up. The kids didn't really show up. There was no skin in the game. And this is classic.
Wow.
Yeah, that's most people.
We're on the exact opposite. I'm so grateful that that was available because it made all the difference. It got me out of the well just enough to be able to start doing something. I remember I was doing Jeffrey Allen's free training before I actually trained with him, and Bob Proctor. And I had such a shift from their free stuff back then that I come up with an idea about how to make more money. And I went from the little unit I was in with my son um, to a three-bedroom townhouse right near a private school. I got in some Japanese students.
Oh, you've frozen on me. Oh, you've dropped out. No, you're still there. No? Where
Yeah,
are
I'm
you?
back. It
There you are.
actually dropped out. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
My internet
That's
dropped
okay.
out, I
I
think.
think the message here is that just understand that your audience is not you. So,
Yes.
so just even if it's a small price, put some price on it. Because I've also
Okay.
recognized that all the free stuff that I put out there, the vast majority of people, they appreciate it, but they don't use it. It's there for them, but they don't necessarily use it, or not to the extent that they could use it. So that's one thing.
Mm.
But then coming back to the people that the lowest hanging fruit that you can focus on right now, it's putting together, it's really drilling down, understanding what their greatest pains are, what they're struggling with the most, and being able to communicate that to them in a way that they go, oh my God, this woman sees me. She really sees me. She understands what my struggles are, what my pains are. And because if they feel that you can see their struggle, then they're much more likely to believe that you have an effective solution to help them to relieve that pain. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So then it's looking at 20K a month. If you look at what would that be made up of? It could be made up of a low ticket um, program that's like an introductory program, plus a higher end program that you have, and one sort of feeds the other. It's like the low ticket program feeds the higher end program. You could also have a one-on-one program
Yeah.
that you
I've got
offer.
all three.
Okay, awesome. So, when you're focusing on the messaging for that audience, which you can put out on any of the platforms, but you need to craft the story in a way that,
Mm.
like with permission, if you could share that story of the speech therapist that you worked with. Ask her permission first and say, would you mind if I share your story? You don't have to reveal names or anything, but those kind of stories are powerful. They're like testimonials. And if you share them as stories, then they could draw people in. Or other stories of other successes that you've had with people, no names, but you can actually tell the story of the breakthroughs that people got. And you could share those on social media.
I've got them on video reviews.
Okay, so that's fantastic, but it's getting people to actually see the video reviews. And on social media, you're better off sort of writing a written story um, about the outcome and about the journey for the person, where your target audience can see themselves in that journey, and it draws them in. It's the story that draws them in, and then they kind of go along and they can see themselves in the journey, and they can see themselves coming to the same outcome and go, oh my God, that'd be so amazing. I didn't know that anybody could actually potentially get me to that point. So, um, and you could do that within your Facebook group to try and build it back up again, or your new Facebook group if you've started a new Facebook group. And you could also do that just on Facebook and just see kind of what kind of traction you can get there. It's not an easy medium, I got to say. It's a bit Facebook's very much pay to play now. It's there are some again outliers out there that do get traction, but they tend to be the funny ones, or the communities that tend to build pretty quickly around a very specific topic. But if you're going to actually build content, you can put it on multiple platforms and see what sticks.
Yeah, I've got it on pretty much everything out there.
Yeah.
Just waiting to see some results. Yeah.
Okay. And then the key is to really align your energy, your frequency, your vibration in that attraction mode. So you're attracting in the clients that are fully aligned with you, and you are focused on those clients who are fully aligned with who you are, the way you work. And that alignment is so, so key. That alignment is like it's like on a combination lock, it's that final number that just unlocks the door. So,
I think there's the problem.
and I think it's asking those questions, where am I out of alignment, or where is my messaging out of alignment? And just
Mm.
incrementally bringing it all into a focus and
Yeah.
working on that laser focus for those people, how you speak to those people. I work with ChatGPT a lot, and like I was just asking it questions this morning about how do I tighten up my messaging? How do I really, what kind of content do I need to focus on to speak to my specific target audience? So, and recognizing that probably 98% of the people who actually listen to me, watch me, they're never going to buy anything from me. But that's okay. I don't need 98%. I only need 2%. So, and that's the kind of attitude that you need to have. And also every piece of content out there, I'm like, if I just change one person's life with this content, it's done its job. Even if only 10 people ever see it or 20 people ever see it. If one person feels inspired or has a breakthrough, then it was worth it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So, any questions around what we've spoken about today?
No, no, I understand. I've got it pretty clear. My biggest challenge now will be getting my messaging really focused because that's my weak spot and bringing me into alignment with who I want to pull in because I also think that's a weak spot.
Yeah, and as much as that's getting easier in many aspects, we're also having to be much more specific because as there is a split happening in the timelines, as you're well aware, and as the
Yes.
our as the audiences are becoming our audiences are becoming more conscious. There's also, we need to be more specific in our messaging, more aligned in our messaging. So,
Mm.
again, it's a little bit of a double-edged sword and more aligned within ourselves, not getting distracted by a lot of the drama that's going on out there, kind of like what I was speaking about on my Facebook Live this morning, and just being able to come back to center and go, just making sure that we're on track, making sure that we're doing the work that we came here to do, and we're working with the people who we came here to help. And that's a bit of a balancing act. Defining it, then and aligning our message with it, and then staying in that lane.
Yeah. Because I do get very distracted. I cover such a broad spectrum of things that I can do from 30 years of training. And I've kind of rolled everything into the amplitude program. They get everything, including their chart delineated. So I find it hard to focus on one thing. I end up getting all distracted on all the different things I do, and then it gets all jumbled and I can't figure it out.
And maybe a part of that, because that amplitude program, maybe it's just too much. Maybe you need more of an ascension program. So you start with step one and then step two and then step three, and then some of that is branched off into higher level programs. So it could be amplitude version one and then or level one and then amplitude level two,
Yeah, I've
whatever.
got those. I've got the
Okay.
two. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you don't want to overwhelm
This is
people.
the big one-on-one. Yeah, there's two others.
So you don't want
Yeah,
to
I forget
overwhelm.
again, they're not like me where, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So a lot of the time, less is more. Keep it simple. And I understand where you're coming from. We just want to, particularly people in our world, we just want to give people everything. And unfortunately, when you give them
Mm.
everything,
Yeah,
they're like, holy crap, I'm just so overwhelmed right now. I'm just going to shut down and go away because I can't deal with it.
I forget because I'm the opposite.
See, that's, you are not your target audience.
No. Yeah, I get that now.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So small steps, baby steps. Um, what has often surprised me is that sometimes the smallest, what seems to be the smallest breakthrough for somebody, they will just think that their whole world has just completely changed and transformed, and they're so
Yeah.
incredibly grateful. And I'm like,
And I'm like,
wow,
what?
yeah, yeah, you get it, right? It's like, really? You found that life changing? Holy shit.
Well,
Okay. Well, I got a hell of a lot more where
I
that came
found that
from.
entree.
Exactly. So, but we seem to forget that quite often it really is the small hinges that swing big doors. And those little seemingly incremental changes can completely transform somebody's trajectory and open up a whole new world for them. So, focus on helping those people make those minute shifts because they can actually lead to gigantuan transformations in the long run. Even with like if somebody's got a health challenge, say they're in their body's inflamed and they're in all this pain and they find it difficult to get out of bed in the morning. Even a shift that one morning they wake up, they're not necessarily pain free, but they actually sit up, put their legs on the floor and go, "Oh my God, I can stand up without feeling like I'm in agony." That's a monumental shift for somebody. They're not pain
Yeah, it
free, they're
is.
not well yet, but holy crap, I made progress and I don't feel like as shit as I did yesterday. I feel
Yeah.
here's the shift that seems incremental. I feel less shit today than I did yesterday, and that's progress.
Yeah. And they don't realize it's an emotional and mindset shift that they've had and their body's just responding. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So,
Mm.
yes. So, there's actually quite a bit to focus on there.
Yeah.
But if you just bring that in and you focus on okay, getting to 20K a month with this target audience, and then you can focus on what we call the hobby group, but get them to invest something
Yeah.
for themselves, not even for you, just for themselves. So they've got skin
Yeah.
in the game. So they'll
I
show up for
understand.
themselves.
Yeah.
Okay,
I get it.
sweet.
Thank you.
Awesome. You're welcome. Okay, can't wait to see what you create. Beautiful.
Thanks.
Alrighty. So beautiful Gilna is on the call. And just another reminder, because Joe dropped in, just another reminder that anybody who drops in on the call today, anybody I work with today, just know that this call will be going out on my public YouTube channel. So it will be out there for all the world to see. So just so you know that before you come in and work with me. So does anybody else want to drop in and say hi? It's lovely to have you here, Joe and Gilna, and work with me today. Tell me where you're at, what you would like to work on. We can do mindset stuff, we can do strategy stuff, wherever you're at. Don't be shy. Hey,
Hey there.
Joe. It's
Do
been
you
a
remember me?
while. Of course
I
I remember
know.
you. It's beautiful to see your beautiful smiling face. You're looking very well.
Yeah, you've been on my mind.
Oh, well,
And so
that's
I just
nice.
was I was going through, yeah, I was saying I really like to maybe get a one-on-one session with you. I
Okay.
don't know. I don't really know if I really want to get public with what's happening with me. It's pretty
Okay.
intense.
I get it. All right, fair enough. Yes, that's why I like to put out that disclaimer out there because I know
I'm
that
glad you did.
yeah, not everybody wants to share all their stuff publicly. So, but just
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I do have a question. I mean, now that
yes,
when you were talking about Facebook and it's a pay to play game, I would like to do stuff on Facebook. And do you find that the Facebook Lives get you anything, get you anywhere? And when you say pay to play, what's the minimum that you could pay to play?
Okay, they're very good questions and not ones that I'm really. My lives really don't get a lot anymore. Like it's funny
Okay.
because, and this is the problem with platforms that we don't control, is that as much as they're free to use, which is fantastic,
Uh-huh.
they control all the working pieces. So, 4 or 5 years ago, lives were the thing. Everybody had to go lives, and the more lives you did, the more traction you got. And then
Right.
that kind of disappeared. And recently, it's like all lives are now only on there for 30 days. They've deleted all lives.
Oh, really?
Any
Okay.
lives that you
Yeah.
did that are more than 30 days old, gone. They're deleted from the archives. So, and so this is why a lot of people are like, oh, well, I'm not going to do lives anymore because they're just not constant.
Right.
And the thing I like about, like, I use YouTube a lot. The thing I like about YouTube is, if as long as your content is evergreen, then you might put out some content and it might not get much traction for 3 months or 6 months. Then all of a sudden it'll start to get
Yeah.
traction and it'll pick up, and it could be getting views for five
Yeah.
years, 10 years.
Yeah.
So that's what I like about doing videos on YouTube. Pay to play, I always recommend that people go to a professional in relation to doing a Facebook ads campaign, because I've tried doing it myself, and to be
Yeah.
perfectly honest, I failed miserably. It's so complex and so complicated. You need to really
Okay.
dial your messaging in. You need to, it's doable, but the amount of time and
Right.
investment you need to put in, and
Yeah.
then they say that you put a lot of different ads out there for a small amount of money, and you find which one
Right.
works, and then you put more money behind
Yeah.
that one. But it's expensive,
Yeah.
and I would recommend that, as I said, go to a professional, somebody who's in the social media advertising space. But I would
Right.
suggest that you have at least a couple of grand minimum before you play in that space.
Wow. Wow.
At least.
Does it make any sense to boost your posts?
Yeah, well, what I would say is test it. Put $20 on a post and see what happens, you
Yeah.
know? Um,
That's a good idea. Good idea.
So, you know, and then if it works, if it gets you some bookings or some clients or whatever,
Right. Right.
then do it again, you know?
Yeah. Well, let me tell you my current strategy. Okay. My current strategy is to take like I'll do a 1 minute video.
Yep.
Okay. And I'm a chat GPT guy too.
Yeah, I
Okay.
love it.
So I will say, so like I have this thing. I wrote this book called The Art of Joyful Achieving. So one of the things in there is about creating a joyful achieving identity.
Right.
Okay. And so I'll say, okay, create 8 1 minute videos on this that have like one point, one action step, and one insight. And then I would and it would give me the teleprompter script, and then I'll
Nice.
do a teleprompter thing. And so it's only 1 minute, but the way that I do it is at the end I will say, if you want a worksheet that tells you how to have a joyful identity, type joyful in the chat and
Yep.
I'll send it to you. And then so that's
Sweet.
how I get them in the loop.
Yeah. And that
And
that can work on Instagram, it can work on Facebook, it can work on YouTube, it can work across all the
I do
platforms.
TikTok too. I do TikTok a lot too.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, I forget about TikTok. It's not really my thing. So, but
Yeah.
yeah. So it's a great strategy. Are you finding it
The
effective?
Well, yeah, I mean, well, I get every day I get at least 3 or 4 people that say joyful, or whatever the word is for that day.
Yeah, yeah,
And so I need to learn how to better communicate with them and get more dialogue with, like, how do I get the once I get the DMs going, how do I keep them going? Because I personally I like DMs better than emails because I think that people are going to be more on DMs. If you're a Facebook person, you're going to be more on Facebook than you are going to be on your email. I would think. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, absolutely. I totally agree that people are more likely to read a direct message than they are to read an email. There's pros and cons with both. So, firstly, if you're not a friend of somebody or directly connected to somebody, if it's on Facebook,
Right.
then the direct message is going to go into their spam or their others messages
Right.
folder. So you've got to
Right.
get over that little
Yeah.
hurdle. And I have found that I would get a certain way with my conversations, and maybe it was the way I crafted my conversations, but then all of a sudden they would just ghost me. It's almost like they get to the pointy end and then they're like, "Oh, well, I'm out of here."
Right. Right.
So we're having a great conversation, and then all of a sudden it's kind of like, "Yeah, no, I'm not going down that line. I'm just gonna, disappear over here."
Right.
And you can
Yeah.
see they see your message and then they just don't respond. So,
Right.
but it's the same with email. Getting email opens, getting email clicks. And that's what I was talking to
Yeah.
ChatGPT
Sure.
about this morning. How do I increase my open rate? How do I increase my engagement rate? How do I get more people to click? What's the strategy?
Yeah.
So, um,
Yeah.
and it's always refining that to improve those results. I do like getting people onto an email list because at least you have more control over it.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. You get their email, but then you also communicate. It's easier to communicate them with the
If you
DM
can
because
do both, go you.
yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
I don't have
yeah.
the
So that's
capacity or the time to be able to do all of the things. But if you
right.
do, go you.
I mean, have you found any really best strategies for getting people on to calls? Because that to me, that's really what I need to do is I need to get somebody on a call. If I have a $5,000 program, they're
Yeah.
not going to sign up except with a call.
Oh, absolutely. Calls are definitely the way to go. And look, there's a whole different lot of ways that you can do it. Just offering a free, I would call it a strategy call. What do you call it?
There's a couple of them. One is a strategy session.
Yep.
Usually that's the 15-minute one. And then
Yep.
I have a 50-minute one that I call clear and unstoppable strategy session. And
Oh,
it's really to help
nice.
them to get clear and unstoppable towards their big goal.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Sweet.
the 15-minute one is basically just to kind of say hello, get a sense of who they are, what they're up to, see if it's a good fit,
Yeah. Yeah.
for a
Connection. Get a
longer call.
connection.
Because I don't want to do a long call with somebody who's totally not a fit.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Totally agree. So the 15-minute call is like the precursor to the 50-minute call. Is that right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So what you want
Exactly.
to do is get them onto a 15-minute call
Yep.
initially. All right. So, well, basically, it's just offering it. So, particularly if you get them into your email sequence and you've sent them a couple of really good quality emails or you've sent them that download sheet or whatever it might be, then you
Yep.
say, "Hey, if you would be open to getting on a strategy call with me, book your strategy call here. Just ask for the booking."
Yeah.
And particularly in the
Yeah.
DM, if you have a series of questions that you ask them in the messages, and then you say,
Right.
"Hey, look, I'd really love to help you further. I think the next best step would be to get you on a strategy call. I've got a free 15-minute strategy call if you would like to jump on a call with me. Here's the link. Let's go."
Yeah.
Just ask for the booking.
I like it. I like it.
And again, those who are aligned with you, because there will be a lot of people who are like, "Oh no, that sounds like a sales call. I'm not ready for that." Okay, then you're not ready for me then.
But that's the thing is that anybody who's saying something like get on a call with me, you're gonna think it's a sales call. And oh
Yeah,
my God, they're gonna try to sell me something, you
and
know?
it is. But it is. And if people aren't prepared to be sold, then you really don't want to get on a call with them. You
Yeah.
do not want the tire kickers. So,
Yeah.
look, if you have a conversion rate of 20% or 50%, preferably in the higher end,
Right.
then you only get there by sort of weeding out those who aren't at least prepared to invest in themselves. You're not going to have a
Yeah.
100% conversion rate. But if you're bringing in people who aren't actually prepared to have a sales conversation, then you do not want to talk to them
Yeah.
because
Okay, well,
it,
that's good. That's good. That's good because I never really considered that.
well, if all they want is free stuff, then they're just going to waste your time.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that you necessarily sell them anything, but they at least need to be prepared to have that conversation. And that's where
Right.
I set it up with people when I say, look, when you book this call, I'm going to help you to really identify what your biggest problems are. I'm going to help you to give you strategies to overcome those problems. And then we're going to talk about whether it's a good fit for us to work together moving forward.
Yes.
And if you're
It's kind of
not
hard to do
prepared,
all that in 15 minutes, isn't it?
well, not if,
How long are your calls usually?
oh, yeah, they're not 15 minutes. Um, they might book a 15-minute call, but they're usually at least 30. So,
Yeah.
but that is my Achilles heel. But I give
You
myself
go
that buffering.
over.
I always go
Yeah.
over, but I give myself that buffering time. Um, but you can if you actually if your questions are really quite targeted and you've already been very good at excluding those who really aren't prepared for the call. And you have
Yeah.
specific questions that you ask them to get to the point quickly because the people you want to work with, they're probably going to be more in the red zone anyway, particularly in your
Yeah.
profession. So they're like, they don't want to sit and chat. They want to get to the
Right.
point. They want to get a result.
Yep.
And so you can do that. If you can do that in 15 to 20 minutes, then say, or even 10 to 15 minutes, and then say, hey, look, I think we'd be a really good fit. I do have a much more in-depth coaching call that we can have. It's a 50-minute
Yeah.
clarity and unstoppable call. Would you like to
Yep.
actually continue this conversation in a more in-depth call where I can really get into the meat and potatoes and really flesh this out for you and we can really nail a result for you?
Yeah.
They
I
either
like
want it
it.
or they don't, you know? It can be as simple
Right.
as that.
Yeah. I like it. That's perfect.
Keep it
That's
simple.
perfect.
Um, I mean, if you like to use NLP style kind of question sheets and stuff, then you can
Uh-huh.
go with that. I just like to keep it simple and just put people on the spot
Yeah.
and say, hey, if you're getting great value, then let's go deeper.
Right. 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 Right.
I mean,
I
does
like
that
it.
does that sound reasonable?
Yeah. No, it does. That's great. That's perfect. I just got to get them on that first call. That's the name of the game.
Well, and
You
that's a
know?
numbers game a lot of the time, and that's building that
Yeah.
rapport,
Yeah.
and all the rest of it. Um, it's nailing your message, it's building the audience, and it's
Yeah.
aligning yourself with that target audience fully and completely.
Yeah.
How do you feel as far as your alignment is concerned, your personal alignment with the direction that you're heading in and what it is that you're building?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't been as passionate about it as I would thought that I would be, you know.
That's
Part of me
interesting.
says,
Why do you think
yeah, I
that
mean, part of
is?
me says, well, I don't really love the marketing and sales. It's not really one of the things that I love to do, you know. I mean, if somebody said, here's 10 coaching clients, coach them, it might be easier for me, than to have to like, okay, I got to get 10 coaching clients. Oh my God. I got to get people, and in order to get 10 coaching clients, I got to get onto 40 calls. How the heck am I going to get 40 people on a call? So that's been the thing
One
that,
at a time.
Yeah,
One at a time.
exactly.
How do I get one
It's
person
gotta
on a
be.
call? You start with that. Just how do I get one
Yeah,
person on a call? And then how do I get the next person on the call? And then
yeah,
you build it up to 40 calls. And, those first 10 calls, you might, I'm not going to say you will, because you're a very likable dude, but you might completely bomb with those first 10.
yeah,
But you'll learn a
sure.
shit ton in the process
Yep,
because you can go back
yep,
and analyze, go, okay, well, that didn't go the way that I anticipated. Why is that? Did
right.
I did I not qualify them enough? Did I not ask them the right questions? Why did they bail on me? Like, and then you just get better and better and better and better until you increase your
Yeah,
conversion rates. And if you're bringing in the right people and you're asking the right questions, then
yep.
ultimately you will get a large percentage of them over the line. But it's all a learning process. It's being willing to.
It really
What
is.
I would recommend about the marketing and the sales, because most of us don't feel
Yeah.
like, woohoo, I get to do marketing and sales today. Most of us aren't in that space. What I would recommend is to align your vibration. Go, I'm curious to learn this process. I'm
Yeah,
curious to get better at speaking to my audience in a way that they build this rapport with me, that they just want to work with me. I'm curious to find out what makes my perfect target audience tick. And you get intensely curious about your
yeah,
audience and you make it about them, not about, oh shit, I got to do marketing and sales today. I get to learn more
right.
about my client today. I get to learn about what makes them
Yeah,
tick. I get to learn about what they really need from me and what they need to hear from
yeah,
me because that's
yeah,
marketing and sales.
yeah,
Every piece of content you put out there is marketing and sales.
yeah,
So reframe sales and marketing in a
right,
way that it's like, and everything that you do is helping someone. That's sales and marketing.
right. Have you ever read the book by Rich Litvin and Steve Chandler?
No.
I think it's an amazing book.
Mm.
Wow, I can't remember what the name of it is. The Prosperous Coach.
Oh,
And
no, I've never read that.
yeah, it's a really good book. It's a really it's one of probably the most read books in coaching field about coaching.
Wow.
And they did it maybe about 10 to 12 years ago.
Okay.
And it's one of the things that they do is they say that it's really good to do a session with someone that's not about sales, not to sell them, and see what happens out of that session. And so I'm really thinking that what I want to do is I want to get really good. And Rich Litvin, do you know Rich Litvin at all?
I've heard the
Rich
name, but I
is
can't say I'm familiar with
yeah,
his work.
he's from the UK, so he's got an accent kind of like yours, except
Oh, okay.
except the UK version of your accent.
Okay.
Uh,
Without the
but he's
Australian twang.
right, exactly. And one of the things that he did is he did like I think he did like several hundred uh like 1 hour set strategy coaching sessions on confidence. And he got like just really good at that and got a ton of clients out of it.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking, well, maybe what I should do is I should just ask, just do as many like 1 hour sessions or 50-minute sessions or whatever as I can to really get good at doing those sessions so that people like come out of those sessions saying, wow, this guy really knows what he's doing. And I really feel like I got something. And then I'm gonna get a lot more clients that way. That's what I was thinking.
There is certainly a percentage who would convert in the long run. And I got to say that I never go into a strategy call with the mindset of, I'm going to sell this person. I always go in with the mindset of, how am I going to help this person today? And then after I've helped them, then I say, would you be interested in having a conversation about how I can help you further? And that's it. If they
Yeah.
say, yeah, no, not really, thanks very much, have a nice life, then it's like, okay, I'm not going to waste my time doing the whole pitch. Um,
Right.
but my first priority is always to give somebody value, is always to help somebody with a
I love it.
part of
I
their
love it.
problem. As a lot of my coaches said, don't heal your client on the first call. Like, don't do that, but give them enough value that they're like, shit, this was really cool. I need more of this. And then
Yeah.
it's just a simple question. It's not, for me, it's not a whole NLP script. It's not the close. It's like, would you like to have a conversation about how I can help you further? And the vast majority of people say, yeah,
Yeah.
I'd love to know what that looks like, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, do
Yeah.
you do tapping with people?
On my coaching calls, yeah, absolutely.
You do? You do?
Oh,
Oh,
all the
okay.
time. Yeah,
Oh,
all the
really?
time.
Okay.
I do a variety of processes, but definitely tapping. When we talk about blocks and clearing blocks, all the time. Yes.
Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. What other processes do you use?
Look, I love there's something called instant miracle technique, which Christian
Okay.
Michelson does.
Yes.
I do that. I do other. I actually do. I create a lot of processes on the fly, which is pretty cool. I just get this
Nice.
inspiration of what the person
Yes.
needs, and I can walk them through a process that gets them the transformation. Sometimes it's just purely clearing. Sometimes it's, just walking them through a peace process, which is isolating the
Hmm.
problem and then getting them to release the feeling and the blockage. So there's a whole
Yeah.
range of stuff that I do. EFT is probably the one that I use the most.
Of course.
But yeah, there's a whole like mishmash of things that I throw in the works. Mm.
Cool.
I just
Cool.
tune
Cool.
into what
Cool.
the person really needs at the time.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
EFT really does work. It's powerful. Yeah.
It
It's
is. It's
great.
very powerful. And I think um, I like EFT because, as much as the other processes work, when the client is engaged in a process of actually doing something, like they're physically doing something,
Yeah.
they kind of feel more engaged in the process. Where if I'm just telling them to breathe and relax and tune into their heart space, and then a lot of people love that kind of process, but some people just don't feel
Uh-huh.
connected to it as they do to something like tapping.
Yeah.
So it depends on your
Yeah.
client, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Truly.
You've got to
Yeah.
gauge who your client is to what process is really going to work for them best.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But I would say for your clients, go tapping. Go tapping for your clients.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
just completed this week. I just completed the certified high performance coaching program with Brendan Burchard.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, I mean, I've been a high performance coach with Brendan for like 10 years. But you have
Wow.
every 2 years you have to repeat the course so that you can, keep your certification.
Oh, right. Okay, sweet.
Yeah,
Well, that would be
yeah,
good because
and
he would also be developing more things and toning it and making it better. And so you learn new stuff all the time, which is fantastic.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Well, listen, I
very
would
good.
love to have a conversation, like a one-on-one conversation with you sometime. So how would I go about that?
Sure. Look, I've got your email address, so I will email you a
Okay,
booking link, and then yeah, we can go
beautiful.
from there. Sweet.
Okay, I
Okay.
love it, love it, love it, love
All
it.
right. Hope
All
that's been
right,
helpful. Okay.
it
Now,
has definitely.
that's so good. All right. Now, before I wrap it up today, I am going to take a moment to tell you about my new Thrive program, which I am very, very excited about. It is a 6 week intensive, it's a group coaching program. It's going to help you to get really clear on your mission, your purpose, your target audience. It's going to help you to craft your message. I'm going to work with you to clear your fears, doubts, blocks, and limiting beliefs and have an unstoppable mindset. And to create a unique strategic action plan that is fully aligned with who you are and where you want to get to. So it's really intense. We are starting next week, so it's going to be finished by Christmas. You get 2 coaching calls with me a week And I've thrown in a couple of sweeteners. So I have a platform on School, SKOOL, and that's normally $47 a month. There's a couple of coaching calls a month on that. You get 12 months free access to that. And the first 10 people, I've already got a couple of people who have signed up, but the first 10 people who join up actually get a free woo woo, well, I can't even say it. Wealthy Woo Woo Warrior activation call. A Woo Woo Warrior activation call, because that's my new brand, is the Woo Woo Warrior, that I can't even say. So uh so the first 10 people get a basically a 90-minute to 2 hour call with me, and at the moment I have kept the price really, really, really affordable. So if you're interested in that, then I'll actually drop its wealth consciousness movement, which is my website.com/thrive. If you go there, it will take you to that page. It will tell you more about what's included. Um, and I'm also offering a 14-day money back guarantee. So if you think it sucks, which I'm sure you won't, then within 14 days, you can actually ask for your money back and you'll get your money back. Because I just want everybody to have the opportunity to be able to jump in and get some value. So if you want to go and check that out, go and do that. Thank you so much for those who came to play today. I do hope you've got plenty of value out of this. And yeah, go forth, be amazing, do amazing things. You have so much to offer the freaking world. Stop holding yourself back, for God's sake. Get out there and help people. They need you. So, love you loads. I'll see you later, guys. Bye.